Hey everyone, welcome.
Hey, can you hear me?
I sure
Oh,
can.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Hmm.
good afternoon, everyone.
Hey Zaida, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good, good. Wait a few minutes or a few minutes before. Everybody having a good afternoon so far?
Hi there.
Hey, how you doing, Karen?
Hi.
Okay, how about you guys?
Great. Doing well. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for being willing to present. We're so excited to hear from you today.
Well, I hope I'm not going first.
I will not make you go first.
Okay, that works.
Perfect.
Did you do well? No, you're fine.
This has been such a brave new world of Zoom life. I feel like I've had more visual conference calls than I ever conceived of in the last month or so.
I had a visual yoga class yesterday.
Oh, cool.
And it was chair yoga, which made it even goofier. It was a lot of fun. So it was a nice break in the day.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Did your yoga teacher correct you at all? Was she able from seeing you through Zoom able to give you
No,
any suggestions?
we got to a certain point, we just turned off the camera and we watched her.
Yeah.
So we could just do whatever she said and be as unflexible as we wanted to. So that was good.
That's great.
How much are those classes?
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Heather.
Hey.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Well, just another minute and we'll go ahead and get started. I think everyone on the call might be familiar with Zoom, but if you do have any questions, there is a chat box function, so please feel free to put your question in there and we'll make sure it does get answered. I am recording the call, so you guys can share it with anybody. If anybody asks any questions later, or there's any follow-up, we'll be sharing it out with anybody that that has interest in seeing it later. I really want to thank all the folks that were willing to share what they've been doing in their online models with the crowd. There's been a lot of interest in just the basics and logistics of what's been going on and how to serve your vendors, serve your clientele in a safe and effective manner that doesn't make you want to pull your hair out. So I'm going to wait 1 minute. I told Art from Urban Oasis Project he would be able to start because he's got to make some of the world's best popcorn the rest of this afternoon. But if he does not come, we are really happy to know that Karen Goodlett from Red Hills Online Market is with us to share what she's got. We also have Bridget Portune with Dig Local, who have done a lot of pivoting and flexing to make their market work for the Jacksonville area. As well, I think we'll be joined by Gail Egeman from the St. Pete Farmers Market. We've also been able to make a lot of changes to the way they're able to get all that great produce at that very, very large market to customers in a safe fashion. And I'm going to go ahead and just mute anybody who's not talking. You can certainly unmute yourself by kind of hovering over your name or your picture and selecting mute or unmute. Great. Okay. I'm just going to ask one more time if Art, did you happen to hop on and I can't see you? Nope. Okay, well then I'm going to go ahead and unmute, and Bridget from Dig Local, if it's okay, I would love it if you could get us started in sharing more information about how you're able to work on your brand new online model. I'm sorry, Bridget, hold on. Art did just hop on and I did promise him he could go ahead and get first. Hey there, is that Art? Art, can you hear us? Looks like his audio is trying to join. 1 second. Sorry, guys. Hey there, Art. Are you able to hear us?
Hey, hello.
Yay, all right. I was just introducing you and saying that you have to go and make some of the most delicious popcorn in the world. So we're going to put you immediately on the spot in telling us about your online model and what you've been doing and how things have been working for you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so we threw up a store using the localline.ca site. They're out of Canada. They have a free trial for a week, and then it's about $120 a month. So for us, we've always been a food aggregator at the farmers markets. So we run the farmers markets and we buy a lot of produce that we then sell as one of the booths at the market. And so it has worked fairly well for us. I mean, it's a massive amount of volume that we took on super quickly, stretching all of our capacity to the limit. So, I mean, to give you an idea, so I would say normally we would sell retail value of produce about $5,000 a week. Right now, I think we're doing about $12,000 in produce sales, and we have other vendors. We have about 10 other vendors that are part of the store now, and so that's been another like $8,000. So it's pretty huge. So it has been extremely intense to manage that. We've had to move to a different space just to give us a physical space large enough to even like pack these boxes. You know, we had to find a source for standardized boxes. First week, you know, we tried using recycled boxes, and that just became a total mess with so many different boxes. So you have different invoice numbers. There's definitely challenges with it, but it definitely works pretty well. I think on a smaller scale, it would be much easier to handle. The process of setting up the store is very easy. You just go on as a food hub, and then you can just invite a couple of vendors. They'll get an invite to set up their store. They add products to their store. It's really easy to do it with a spreadsheet model. I mean, it is super helpful if people are familiar and capable of using spreadsheets. But some of my vendors did also do it all manually. You know, if they only have 10, 20 products, then entering each product manually is not too odious of a task. But for me, where I have like 80 to 100 products of my own of fruits and vegetables, I definitely rely on the spreadsheets. So they have a nice system where you can like download all the items in your store, and then you can change your inventory number and upload it back into the store, and make all your changes at once to get your inventory right. I've been turning the store off and on because, you know, we are still trying to operate it more as a virtual farmers market, where people order on Wednesday and Thursday morning, or, you know, Wednesday morning till Thursday night. We spend all Thursday afternoon getting things ready to pack. So like splitting things up into single portion sizes, like half-pound bags of ginger, you know, 1 pound bag of mushrooms, whatever we're doing. And then on Friday morning, we have like five people just packing all these invoices into boxes. So they have a pretty good system where you can download all the invoices and print them all out, as well as print out a summary of them all. I've got 4 different pickup locations that I'm offering. So we have to sort them by their pickup location. So that's pretty easy to do in the site. And then I've also got a delivery option. It's supposed to have a really nice looking routing app, but at least for mine, it does not work at all right now. So I just download all the deliveries and do it manually, like to figure out some groups of like 6 to 8 orders to send out with a person in different parts of town. I'm in Miami, by the way, so you know, it's on a nice grid system. So for the most part, you can look at a bunch of orders and have a pretty good idea of like what goes together for one person to deliver, and then send those out. So that's been pretty manual still. Are there any questions that someone has about it? And then maybe I'll be able to think of some other like things to point out about people considering trying to use it.
Art, would you touch on how SNAP shoppers are able to still receive the FAB incentive and pay with SNAP?
So because we're doing kind of a drive-through market, a lot of people, okay, so this is a challenge, is the whole tracking payments. I'm all about making it super convenient for the customer. It's really important to retain customers, making things super convenient. So I'm offering all kinds of payment methods. So people can pay online through the site, through Square, and then the invoice will be marked paid. But they can also, I'm offering, they can pay me through Venmo, through PayPal. Some people want a Zelle. They can pay credit card, debit card on site. They can pay cash on site, but I started requiring that it be in an envelope and no change is given. So they have to have exact cash. And then they can pay SNAP on site. So we have a good number of people doing that. I mean, I was actually really surprised when I saw the numbers yesterday. We had over $1,000 on the weekend in SNAP, and I think another like 500 yesterday for the last pickup. So people are doing that on site. When they drive up, they get their box in the trunk, but they have to either hop out or bring the machine to the window. And then we're just using our same old market sheet to track all those, as well as we're using that same market sheet now to track the cash and credit card payments that we receive on site so that we can mark those invoices as paid in the system. We are doing, it'll be a problem if it takes off, but we are offering free delivery for SNAP customers as well, which requires special routing considerations because we only have 2 credit card machines that can take the SNAP. And so we have to make sure the driver has the SNAP machine with them and can do it at the person's door. It's probably not legal to be doing it that way, but we're trying to get food out to people. And so it's kind of a temporary solution. We also, I mean, I operate very much on a kind of trust and community basis, and it works for us. You know, we just really stress that to people because it has been really hard. I mean, it's pretty much all me doing all the accounting and all the roles. I have my team of people packing all the orders. So that's been super challenging. So I just, my sister just came down to help take on a lot of that role of tracking payments and accounting refunds, because it can be challenging because of, I take all those payment methods, there's no way to mark the invoices in the system which way they paid. So if we have to give a refund because our inventory was off or because a box wasn't packed properly when it got sent out, which is happening far more than I'd like to happen. But it's, you know, super complex and people are getting like 20, 30 different items in a box. So we have to figure out how to refund those people. But, you know, everyone is super grateful that we're doing this, making produce available, keeping all the you know, all the farms that I'm dealing with are, you know, I'm buying pretty much everything that they have to offer. So, you know, other folks have been reaching out to me about connecting with these, you know, hearing all the stories in the news about farms having to throw everything away. And I'm like, well, that's, you know, those aren't the farms that I deal with. Those are like the huge conventional farms. The farms that I deal with are, you know, I'm selling tons of stuff. They're doing their own like on-farm distributions in different ways. And they've been getting everything sold. And I've been able to keep a number of vendors in business that are, you know, able to sell through the site. I'm only keeping 5% to cover a little bit of credit card fees and, you know, just a tiny bit to cover our work packing the boxes, because that works for me because, you know, we're making enough margin on all the vegetables, which is the majority of everyone's orders, you know, that I can kind of not be charging the vendors for the service of packing, because it also strengthens our store as a food hub and as a virtual farmers market to give people this really wide array of different things they can get. So they can get soaps, they can get Mediterranean foods from a vendor, banana breads and different breads from another vendor, and crackers, cookies, a couple different items.
Awesome. Thank you, Art. While we still have him, does anybody have any questions they want to direct to Art or have about Local Line or what he's been doing? Heather?
I don't have a question right now, but I just wanted to say, Art, it's good to see your face. It's been a long time, and I just want to tell you, I just think what you're doing, and especially where you're doing it, is in a difficult environment. So God bless you for that. That's awesome love you're giving down there. So great job.
Thanks. Thanks so much. Yeah, it's I mean, we've gotten a lot of media coverage. The Miami Herald has done some stories, and then also we, you know, I'm really like, I've tried to like keep it really forward looking. So we were just about to open a new farmers market at the Vizcaya location the week that all the markets got shut down. So, you know, that's why we have that as a pickup location. Because they're using it to advertise to their members because they've shut down the entire property. This is the only thing that happens on the property now. And it's a great way for them to, like, you know, advertise to all their huge membership base that this is a thing that they can take advantage of now, and that someday we'll have, you know, a real farmers market there on the property. So we're just using all of mostly our same market locations as our distribution sites. And, you know, we set up the fab tents. So people, get to see the logo. And yeah, I mean, like we've met a ton of new people, developed, you know, if we can keep our quality up, then we'll have met a ton of new customers and really expanded kind of our recognition by people in Miami.
That's awesome. Art, we have one question from Heather is, when you mentioned that 5% that you charge, do you pass that on to the vendors or is that passed to the customer?
Well, so the local line has a better way to do it than what I'm doing. I'm just, so the vendors get invoices, a separate invoice for every order that they're included in. And so it creates a very jumpy invoice system because like I'll have a master invoice of like 10,011 and then 10,012 will be for spices, 10,013 will be for cookies, and that's all they got. And then my next one will be 10,014 with the next customer. So they've been just giving me all their inventory, and like that has definitely been a messier part of the system, is figuring, like making sure that they're giving me the right inventory, and then they're just invoicing me kind of outside of that system. There's ways to do it within the system, and there's ways that you can even set up basically where they're selling to you at like a wholesale price of like $5, and it automatically gets marked up a percentage. So you decide your market's going to be, you know, your hub is going to take 10%. You can pass that on to the customer real easy. Like the customer will see the price of the product is $5.50, but the invoice to the vendor will only be the $5 that, you know, was their price. So there is a good way to do that within the system. So right now, though, I hadn't figured all that out when I started using it. They are under a huge volume increase. So last week, like 9 days ago, their whole system kind of crashed out for a day because over the first like 6 months that they're operational, they had like 80,000 invoices. And then last weekend when me and I think a bunch of other people went live with them, they had like 30,000 invoices over the one weekend. So they built a new server and it's been functioning fine since 8 days ago. And I think they're aware of and watching the increase more closely now because there is such a surge in interest of both people setting up these kind of systems and in consumers like using these kind of systems to get local produce.
Yeah. Awesome. Anyone else have any questions before we let Art go back to his popcorn making? Thanks so much, Art. We really can't say enough how much we appreciate you sharing what you're doing and just doing what you're doing.
Certainly, yeah. Well, I hope it helps. I do think, I think I would basically say that I do recommend the system. I had someone who used to run a big, not CSA, but like a organic produce distribution thing. She looked at a couple of the options and she felt like this one was the most secure with financial information, as well as secure, like built in a secure way from a cybersecurity standpoint, where it's protecting people's passwords and stuff like that. So that was really good. And that it had a bunch of these functions kind of built into it. So yeah, and if anyone does decide to use it, feel free to shoot me an email and I will try to get back to you and answer any questions. At some point, hopefully next week, we will be under better control and I'll be able to like spend some more time, like, you know, I'd be happy to spend some more time like talking people through kind of setup and things to watch out for, that are kind of the things that are easy to get tripped up on.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, all right, thank you.
Thanks, Art.
Good luck, everyone. I'm going to take off and go back to finishing a popcorn order.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. So that was a really great look at what's going on at Urban Oasis Project and their local line project. I put his site on the local line on the Zoom group chat if you guys want to check it out or if you've seen that. Without further ado, I want to introduce Karen Goodlett, who's the market manager of Red Hills Online Market. I'm going to unmute you, Karen, and I will have to say that they are true pioneers in the sense that they saw all this coming and have been a online market for much longer than the lifespan that COVID has seemed. So with that, Karen, I'm going to hand it over to you, and I really appreciate you being here and sharing what you all do.
Thank you. The Red Hills Online Market started right around 9 years ago in March of 2011. And at that point, I think we had maybe 30 producers, and that first year they made under $50,000 possibly. We've grown significantly since then. I've been the market manager for, I'm in my 8th year, I think, something like that. We now have 80 producers, and we just jumped to like 1,000 customers that had shopped with us since the first of the year. It just went crazy. We use a platform from Local Food Marketplace, and we were one of their original customers. They have folks all over the country now, but they treat us like prima donnas because we trusted them long before anybody else did. It's an easy platform to use. It's not cheap, but if you pay annually, for us, it runs just over $3,000 for the year. And farmers they're given their own farmer page, and they can list the products that they have available, describe them. They describe their farm, their growing practices, so that you can click on a Meet Your Farmer picture and see what these people look like and what they grow or what they raise, the cattle they raise, how they go about doing that, as well as the products that they offer. So farmers do that each week and just post what they have available, and then customers shop. They bring it to us right now they're bring us some items on Wednesday afternoon, and then the others on Thursday morning. And then Thursdays, we used to pack for people for deliveries, and then people would come and pick up. Now everything is delivery, and that has just been horrid. We grew too fast. We didn't realize how to turn it off. And we now have gotten to a point where the last 2 weeks, we have just cut off ordering at a certain point. We realized we could do 300 orders in a day. And so the first week, this was after it was chaos with 550 orders the week before. It was horrid. It was nightmares kind of thing. And so the following week, we thought we can do 300 in a day. And we did. We did 324. This week we've said, okay, we're getting good at this, and we'll do 350 this week. So we're easing up, but we cut off orders 2 hours after shopping opened. And that was really difficult for longtime customers. We have longtime customers that have been accustomed to coming in and visiting and shopping and being treated like the very special people they are, and they've had a hard time with all the growth and that we've had recently, and whether that growth will continue or people will drop off once Publix becomes a fun place to be, I don't know. But right now we're just trying to address it as best we can. I have 2 assistant managers. I'll be looking for a third. I'm doing that now because we're looking to go to 2 markets a week. And the 3 of us that have been doing this as a part-time job have found out right now it's a full-time job. So that's gotten very, it's taking a toll on everyone. So we've been hiring people to help us pack. I have 17 drivers that'll be going out Thursday afternoon to all over Tallahassee and some over to Gadsden County and up to Thomas County in Georgia to take deliveries. So that's what else we do. The vendors pay a $50 fee every year to participate with us, and shoppers pay a $20 fee. For our producers, if they volunteer within like 4 hours a month with us, then we only take 10% of their revenue. Otherwise, we take 15% of their revenue each month. We also add a 7% fee to the shoppers, so that if producers list kale for $3, the shoppers see $3.21. And we use that to help pay for our website and some of our other expenses. Let's see. I'm looking to see what else you need.
Hubs.
We have different pickup hubs throughout town. Those have become more limited because of folks being cautionary. And we have a hub in Thomasville. We have one over in Gadsden County in Havana. And we use the community food co-op here in Tallahassee. Another one out at Miccosukee Land Co-op for those folks. And then trying to think other interesting things we do.
Karen, will you also touch on how you're able to allow SNAP shoppers and how you do the different payment methods?
Okay. We have been very fortunate in that we received a $5,000 grant from Whole Foods to help us with being able to waive fees like membership fees, delivery fees. We're actually using that we've waived over $1,000 worth of delivery fees for people who are at risk right now and shopping with us, so that they're getting their home deliveries at no cost. We've only just in the past month started taking SNAP, and I've had to do it over the phone initially. We're hoping as things are calming down at the market that they'll be able to keep the market phone there on Thursdays soon, and our SNAP customers be able to come and pick up at the RHO hub and swipe there. Local Food Marketplace has talked to us in the past because some of their customers have been able to have the EBT cards put into the system. They've done a pilot with some people so that someone could enter their card just like they do their Master or Visa card or whatever and run them like that. But I haven't had a chance to talk to them about that at this point.
Great, thank you. Was it difficult to get your vendors to update their products or to have that conversation about the percentage of revenue or their fee to be able to participate in the market?
No, the hardest thing we've had is to try and develop some sort of a standard labeling, packaging kind of thing, so that it makes it easier for folks to pack. And then for someone to get their broccoli or their kale home and really like it and then go, well, who did I even buy this from? So we try to make sure that everything is labeled with the farm name, and that has really been our most difficult thing to do. It's very funny that they've had such a hard time doing that.
Yeah. Great. Does anyone have any questions they want to direct at Karen? That has been incredibly informative, Karen. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's actually been, I really don't totally understand how things just went just so crazy for the first 3 months of the year. People shouldn't have to wait for a pandemic to realize how good local food is. But our revenue for the first quarter of 2020 was actually $100,000 more than last year, which is it's just astounding to be able to see that growth. And our farmers are really, really excited because not many of them are doing open air farmers markets now. So we're able to pick up, help with them, some like that.
Yeah. We just had a question come in from Zaida. She wants to know, when you're talking about the free delivery for your more high risk or vulnerable customers, how are you facilitating that? Do people just write in that they are in that category, or how does that work that they can get that free delivery?
We've told them to do, and it's also in the ordering part of the software where you would confirm your order. It says, hey, are you considered by the CDC to be high risk? If so, just write qualify in this box, and then they've been doing that. So we try not to, there are people that will give you their entire medical history, and then there are people who'll just say qualify. I have to manually go in and take off the delivery fee. There's just no way right now for it to immediately drop off. But it really has been helpful. And we've actually been able to even do some home deliveries as far as Havana, which would not be in our normal zone, because we have somebody who lives over there who's happy to be able to do that and help folks out over there. So it's been it's taken a team effort to make all of this work.
That's great. Thanks, Karen.
Hi, this is Lee. I just had a quick question. How far would you say is your most distant delivery in regards to just one-way travel time?
Wow. Well, from our farmers, we have folks as far as over as Live Oak, and then over to Hosford, Bluntstown area. We've got actually picked up Southern Craft Creamery that is in Mariana, and they're selling milk for the first time this week. And then we go up north to about Coolidge, Georgia. So that's with our range for our farmers.
I'm in Sarasota County on the west coast of Florida, about 8 hours, about 6 hours away from you. So I'm a little geographically challenged when you mention these towns and cities that I'm not familiar with.
Oh, 100 miles, basically about 100 miles either way. Yes.
Wow. That's one way?
Mm-hmm. So we have folks that drive for an hour and a half to get their product to us on Thursday mornings.
And then as far as deliveries to customers, what would be the longest distance one way for a delivery to a customer?
Well, we use people's cars for the most part. And we try to keep it within the general Tallahassee area, except for a hub in downtown Thomasville, which is about 40 miles away in Georgia, and hub in Havana, which is in Gadsden County west of us.
It's impressive. That's a pretty large footprint you're dealing with.
It is. Thank you. Yes.
Great. Awesome.
So Art talked about all the different kinds of payment methods he have. Do you do a similar thing in regards to that?
Well, the software is set up so that you enter your credit card, and I charge it after the market closes. Today it closed on Tuesday morning. And whenever, generally when we're not closing after 2 hours, people can shop for 2 or 3 days and somebody adds more eggs because somebody else ran out or those kind of things. They can keep coming back and adding to their orders. So we take your major credit cards. There's some customers who are not comfortable with that, and they will say, give us a check for 200, and I give them credit on their account, and that just goes against, they do that. We do, when we were able to be open and people walking in, we would usually have extra products that people could come in and buy extra kale or sweetgrass cheese or something like that, and we took cash for that. We do have a square we could use on site, and then we have the EBT equipment.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Karen. We really appreciate your time and what you're doing and your willingness to share with us all.
Thank y'all.
Great. I'm going to keep us moving here, and I'm going to move on to our wonderful folks in Duval County with Bridget Portune and the Dig Local Network. Bridget, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. Oh, you already did it. You're on it. Thanks, girl.
Hey. All right. We're Dig Local. And for anybody that doesn't know, we're a nonprofit working out of Jacksonville Beaches. And we're dedicated to connecting people with healthy, sustainable food. And we also chose Local Line for our online store. We reviewed a lot of different options. And this one was by far the least expensive and the easiest to set up. Local Line has an option. I don't think it's really currently advertised very well on their site, but it's the one that we went with, and I think it's called the Food Hub option. You need to contact Local Line to make sure you get set up with the right one. This allows you to set up your vendors within your store rather than having them set up their own individual site, and it is significantly cheaper that way. With this option, we're able to set up our vendor products, or they can go in and set up their own. And the products can be set up individually or by spreadsheet, the way they said. We have 12 vendors participating at this point. We're still waiting on product from some of them. I've only had 2 vendors go in and set up their own product. I've done the rest of the setup, and it was pretty easy. The way that we pay Local Line with the Food Hub option is that we pay a per vendor fee. So the more vendors we have participating, the more money we pay to them. And we are passing that fee, it's $20 a month, onto our vendors. We're using just the payments from the customers that come into the online store. We connected our Square account to it. And then we weekly write a check for all of the orders to our, to each vendor. But we collect the money off the site into our Square account. We have 3 market managers, me and 2 board members who are Joanne and Mike. And at the moment, we're probably spending about 15 hours a week on the online market. But I think that's got a lot to do with the fact that we're still setting up a lot of products and we're still learning the system. Once that gets sorted out, it's not going to be anywhere near that. It's going to be like maybe 2 or 3 hours a week. We also run 2 physical markets still. They're Wednesdays and Saturdays, and all the orders placed through our online store must be picked up at one of our 2 markets. We've discussed delivery options, but we haven't really begun to plan for that yet. And due to the unseasonably warm weather that we've had, our main farm veggie vendor can't give us a consistent inventory right now on vegetables. And so since we can't offer those online, we're still really driving people to the physical market for those products. When we collect the orders, we have all the vendors at the beginning of the market just collect their orders and bring them to us, and then we collect them into one single order for each customer, and they would come to the Dig Local tent and pick it all up at once. We have a drive-through option, which some of you may have seen on Wednesday with us, and so they can drive straight up to our tent and give us their name, and we'll give them the order. which would have to be prepaid through the site. So right now we don't have a SNAP option. We've been in contact with Local Line a lot. They're very responsive to questions, and they will give you a single contact to call and bug and harass with all of your setup questions. And he's been really nice. And he did say that they're planning to add a pay later option. It's supposed to be in the next release, but I don't have an ETA on when that's going to be. And then we would be able to do pay later, and they would we'd be able to pay SNAP on site at the market and then pick up their order. I guess the last question I think that was on there was for safety. And since we are still running a physical market, all of our vendors are required to wear masks and gloves. And we have a lot of signage related to maintaining the 6-foot social distancing bubble. I know it's been tough for a lot of our regular customers who are used to coming and hanging out and chatting to everybody, and and we do remind people that that we have to keep moving now. But it's been going really well. We've gotten a lot of orders in so far.
Bridget, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So I follow Dig Local on Facebook. I run the Orange Park Market, and we've been permitted to reopen with food only and not doing the full, not all the arts and crafts and all that kind of stuff, which stings, but I get it. But I've noticed that you seem to get a lot of really good, positive feedback on your Facebook page. And I definitely had the opposite issue when I first posted that we were doing this mini market and how it was going to work, and in our parking lot and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I joked with a friend that it's a difference between Clay County and Duval, but Clay County people can be wacky. And I live in Clay County, I'm one of them. But I was just wondering, like, have you gotten some pushback that maybe I missed seeing on your page, and how are you dealing with that?
We have been really, really lucky. We have been really lucky. The city of Atlantic Beach actually reached out to us to set up the drive-through option. We are also the beaches, and a lot of the beaches community it's pretty small, and they have gotten really used to having that green market available 2 times a week to come and get fresh food. And so the fact that it's still there for them has been huge. And I think they're grateful enough to let that, they've been super grateful that it's still there. I don't believe that we have been getting a lot of pushback. We did, I know that the city posted some pictures this weekend, and someone immediately popped on that one of our vendors didn't have a mask, which was a good catch. And we went and found them and got them a mask. So, I mean, we're responding, to our customers, but our feedback has been overall very positive.
I'm very jealous.
I'm so sorry.
We had, after the initial, like, oh, this is a bad idea, someone even tagged our EOC director, it was ridiculous. There were a lot of people that then came to bat for us, like, they're spread apart, like, we need fresh food, outside's better. So, they kind of sorted it out amongst themselves, but I was just curious if you had seen stuff that I hadn't. And we'll have another mini market this Sunday, which would be our regular scheduled day. I'm able to get the SNAP going again. And I've had a couple more farmers who are just like, we have produce and we want to sell it. So.
Yeah. No, and it's possible that we've just been super lucky in that we have a kind of a small, very, very strong, like, backing, for community backing of people that, for the 2 weeks that we were closed before we found, or for the week that we were closed before we were able to find another, pop-up location, were just, beside themselves that they couldn't get fresh food from us, and that they were going to have to go to Publix and be inside and all of that. So I'm sorry.
Thanks.
That doesn't make your job any easier.
No.
Hi, Bridget. This is Lee. I heard something I thought was incredibly smart, and that is how you're doing your setup for people to pick up. So if I ordered from 3 different of your vendors, and I'm going to come to one of your markets to pick up, and then your vendors are going to bring my 3 orders from different vendors to a central location in the market that you are handling. And then will you then collate my orders from the 3 different vendors together, and then that's what I pick up? It's like in a box or something?
Yes.
Well, that's absolutely brilliant. I think that's a great logistical solution. That's really I
The
like
only
that.
thing that made sense to us.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of different models, as you can well imagine, as people are trying to sort through all this. But I think that part of it really, that really sounds a very efficient way to go about it.
Well, the one thing that Art pointed out about Localine, which again is something that's supposed to change in the next update, is that right now you don't, the suppliers, the vendors don't get the customer name. And you could have, if you've got an order with items from 3 different vendors on it, then you have 4 different order numbers, 4 different invoice numbers, and you can't match them up. So they're going to change that. Localine is going to add the customer data to the orders. Again, it's in one of the upcoming releases, and we're not sure when it's going to be. But right now, like, we have to take our master order and then try and match it up to the products from all the other vendors and make sure that we've coalesced them all into one order. They literally would not have the name of who to pick it up from otherwise.
So you take all the orders that are coming in as a central clearinghouse. You're making sure that payment's been made, and then you're sending out the order to the vendors so they know what to fulfill on what market.
It actually goes out automatically from the system. Yeah, the system automatically pushes out to our bakery and says, you've got an order for 3 cannolis.
And that's just driven by the product inventory.
Yeah, no, it's by order. So he'll get the bakery, for example, he'll get 1 order for 3 cannolis. Then he'll get another order for a loaf of wheat bread, 2 pitas, and 1 cannoli. And then he'll get a 3rd order for 6 spanakopita and a bag of bagels.
Right.
So he gets every single order that's placed. The vendor gets an order.
Yes. And that's on the vendor side. When I said the product categories, that if I go and pick cannoli, the system knows that cannoli is attached to that vendor when they select it.
Yes.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying about the multiple vendor orders. It's almost like they need to build a shopping cart. So it puts everything together under one invoice, so to speak, where you can collect everything to deliver.
Yeah. It's from a customer standpoint, it appears to all be collected into one order. From our end, it's fragmented between the vendor and the master order.
Got it. Thanks.
That's awesome, Bridget. Thank you so much. I'm going to do a quick check real quick because we were hoping to hear from St. Pete Saturday morning farmers market from Gail Egeman as well. But Gail, I don't see your name on here. I just wanted to quick check in before I rushed us through to see if you were able to join us.
Hi, this is Kathy. I'm here. I don't know if Gail's here or not.
Hey, Kathy.
Hey.
I talked to Gail earlier today, and there might have been a little confusion on the time, but if you are here and able to touch on what you all are doing with your online model and with the different pickups, we'd be really grateful.
Yeah, it's been interesting. So at the online market with pickups, with the Thursday pickup, we have 2 Thursday pickup locations that I don't go to. So the guy that handles that used the paper voucher methodology, and he had like 3 or 4 EBT. It wasn't a lot, but he called up and got the approval and filled out the little paper voucher form for me. And then he attached that to a copy of the order so I could see who the vendors were, how much, and I could see how he calculated the charge, including the use of the match, the Fresh Access Bucks match, and the $5 coupon, because we were using those too. So we've kind of figured out those calculations, and then he gives me copies of those when I see him on Saturday morning, which is our main market, which has always been our main market, but that's our main drive-through pickup market. And then I just run his vouchers through the machine for him. And then I keep track of the vendor payments on another spreadsheet. That's something new I started doing because we have quite a few now. On Saturday morning, which is our main pickup, that's where we have the vendors actually there, a certain number of them, not too many, but those folks are also ordering online, but a lot of times we have an online market pickup, and then we have the vendors have their own website orders pickup. So there's two separate groups. The EBT is been interesting because I'm trying to do it without tokens. We're still using tokens a little bit, just when there's an excess of vegetables, let's say, but or let's say not as many vegetables as there is SNAP. So they come to me at the SNAP. I have a little red tent, and we have signs, and I sent them emails, and basically come through and come to me first. I go ahead and take care of their payment, and I print an extra receipt and clip that onto their order. And so when they drive through the vendors, it shows that they paid. All right. So, and then I keep track of their order. I keep a copy of their order. I take a picture of it, and so that I can go ahead and credit the vendors properly without the use of tokens. So it's been an interesting process. It's not perfect yet by any means. Did that make any sense? I mean, it's pretty convoluted, but
yeah, you guys are running two different kind of ways. So you
Right.
do have your online market where people can aggregate, and you guys act as that aggregator for those vendors. But then you also are allowing for a drive-through market where people can place orders directly with those farmers. And I did just post in the chat box a link to your guys's SaturdayMorningMarket.com, the Saturday Morning Market drive-through.
Right. And then there's also the St. Pete Farmers Online Market.org. That's our, we're calling that the hub, and that really is the kind of a food hub. That's the first thing I mentioned, where somebody else is doing that, and he's doing the paper vouchers and then giving those to me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's kind of two separate methodologies, but it all sort of comes through me, and I'm just sort of at the point where I'm trying to figure out how to do it all. But I think it's, once we were missing a couple vendor agreements, so we're getting those lined up, and it really, by hopefully after this weekend, it should flow pretty smoothly. And I just think that online market ordering is probably not just going to go away if and when this nightmare we're all living in does go away. I don't know what you all think of that, or if you have questions for me, because I know that was complicated the way I described it. Sorry. Anything?
So Kathy, what's the software platform you were using for your Thursday pickups?
I'd love to tell you that, but I don't know. I guess I could look on that and see what it says at the bottom. Is that where it would tell me that?
You are using, yeah, they use local food marketplace as well for the online market. You're right, Kathy, it's at the bottom.
Local line?
Local food marketplace, similar to what Red Hill, Red Hills Online uses as well.
Now, I will say this, that Bill, the guy that's the the Food Hub guy kind of doing that for us. I just got off the phone with him. He told me that they were going to be able to print on the order from now on that they are EBT customers. That was one of the issues we had, figuring out, who had the EBT orders out of all of these, 130 orders or whatever it was, So now that's going to be more clear, and that should solve some initial issues that we had.
And
So
so
it is a pay later scenario in that he's getting authorization, so I guess the money gets held. Is that how it works? I don't know how the vouchers work on the other end, but we get an authorization number, so I assume they hold those funds, and then we go ahead within 2 days, you have like 10 days, I think, and we go ahead and put that through. So that's how we handle the remote locations. And that's, to me, something I see hopefully increasing going forward, regardless of what happens with, the rest of it. It seems to me the vendors might want to do a little more of it too. And I hate to leave out the EBT folks if they're going to use it, So anyway.
So Kathy, on Saturday morning, I heard you say, are customers making the orders on the websites and they're going directly to the vendors, and then are they driving to the vendors in the drive-through market and picking them up directly from them?
Yes, but first they stop at my booth and we take care of the payment.
So the payment's not being made online at the website, you're having to conduct that transaction?
Right. Not with the EBT payments are not being made online.
Yeah, but I was talking about all payments in general. Are you
No, I think that if you're using a credit card, you're paying that online, and that's being taken care of directly.
Okay.
Because actually I have an account with the online market, and actually I ordered something from one of the farmers too, and I just paid for it online.
Are you using a different platform from just what your website has been in the past? Did you add on to that in some way to take the?
I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know that.
It's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. The vendors are using, some of the vendors, I think I have a list of the vendors' websites somewhere. I could email that and you could look at those too and see how the vendors are doing it. The farmers. I'm just going to call them the farmers because that's mostly who folks are ordering from that are doing Saturday pickup. But some of them are ordering from them and also ordering from the online market. They have like a couple of stops to make.
I'd like to open that up if I could on your behalf, Leah. Bridget and Karen, can you speak to how the online payments were set up through your the platform that you use? I just unmuted you, Bridget.
So Local Line just gives two options. You can connect your Square or Swipe account to it, and all you really have to do is push the button and then enter your account information to connect it up.
Great.
But they do only accept those two options kind of they handle the payment part, but then it goes into your account on one of those two services.
Awesome. Thank you. And how about for you, Karen, with Local Food Marketplace?
People put in their card and we process it after the market closes, and the money goes straight into our bank account. We have a middle person that's local that I really don't know how that magically happens, but it's very helpful. And we've not had any problems with security or people's cards or anybody hacking us or anything at this point. So,
and that's a feature that Local Food Marketplace allows you to set it up through like a third party that gives you, okay.
We use authorized.net, and we have a local company called Morningstar that's sort of our conduit to get to authorized.net.
Great. Great. I know we're just a few minutes over, but I want to open it up. If anybody has any questions at all for any of our wonderful presenters, I want to go ahead and give just a last moment or two towards that.
I apologize if I'm asking questions constantly, but I'm really interested in the logistics of all this. And about how many vendors do you have at the drive-through on Saturday morning, Kathy?
We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have about 7, and then we have another 4 or 5 represented at the online market table, which is an aggregator.
Okay. And what would you just estimate your volume of attendance on the drive-through market to be?
I think it's running about somewhere between 600 and 800.
Wow, it's good.
Yeah.
So
It's good.
I'm a shopper at the drive-through market. I shop every week and I pick up for about 4 to 5 people and deliver because I'm nice. And I do it for the time bank.
You are nice.
You are nice.
And I want to feel like I'm doing something. But though it's 500 to 800 people, I go at 10 a.m. because my farm gives me a time slot based on my last name. And it takes me 10 minutes. You would think like, oh, that many people are coming through. There's probably a line, 2 miles long, but it never takes me more than 10 or 15 minutes to get through the whole process. And I pick up from at least 3 different vendors because I'm picking up several orders for other people.
That's great news. The first week or 2, it was a little bit longer though, right?
Not really, but I think I just maybe went at the right time. I think what's really important about your model, Kathy, is that you have people directing traffic.
Yeah.
And you have people checking, do you have an order? Show me your phone that you actually placed an order and you're not thinking you're coming in here and purchasing things that you haven't pre-ordered.
Right.
And yeah, there's someone directing traffic into the parking lot, and like once you're in there, like this is the flow of traffic and this is how you get out.
Yeah.
It goes really smoothly.
Thanks. Yeah, we worked on that and we changed it from the first week, and we even changed it last week to where Little Pond, for example, which does a huge amount of business, they reconfigured theirs. I don't know if you noticed that, but they reconfigured theirs, and it's really flowing fast now through there because they had the most orders. So that would be the bottleneck. And then, yeah, I noticed it was much better this past Saturday. So I'm glad to hear that you say that, because we've worked hard on that. And that's when we started deviating people, the EBT folks, out, and they can just actually come and park, and then I walk over and then we deal with it, and we retain our distance, but it gets done, because that takes a little longer than usual.
Great.
This sounds so much more organized than I would have ever thought. I mean, not that I'm underestimating our market managers in Florida in any way. We're very creative business people, but this is pretty amazing how fast you have pulled all this together over a relatively short period of time, except for our folks who've been doing this since 2011, which I'm like amazed at. But
Me
I
too.
will say this, there's a ton of good information today from you folks. So thanks for all the great work.
Thanks for asking. Gail, I have to give all the credit to Gail Eggeman. I mean, she's been kind of really working both ends of the candle, you know what I mean? On this online, it's been much more work, she told me today, than the regular market. So hopefully we'll get it, totally smoothed out, because I think it's here to stay. I don't know what you all think, but.
Oh yeah, I think our friends that have been doing this since in Tallahassee since 2009, 2011. I think they know it's here to stay, and we're so happy you're a part of the FAB program. All of you, Karen and Kathy and Bridget, thank you all so much for sharing your models and giving us some insights into the work you're doing. We know you're super busy right now, and we just truly appreciate it.
I had one more question before we go. Kathy, are you charging the vendors who are doing their own online payment? I would assume you are, because you have a lot of staff to pay.
I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure Gail is charging them. And
Okay.
it may be that the city, I mean, I'd have to ask her, but maybe that the city is kind of comped us on the space, and I don't know what all of the, there's a series of things that have to go on, but
Mhm.
She does have staff, but there's also a lot of volunteers. So I would say there's half of us are paid staff and the other half are volunteers. So that's sort of a nice thing. But honestly, I don't know if the vendors are paying booth rates right now.
Kathy, if you were to just estimate how many paid staff and how many volunteers you have to run the two operations, I'm sure they're kind of separate between the two, but
Yeah, market paid staff is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's almost the full staff that we have for the regular market. Actually, I think that's pretty much, yeah. So it's still a lot. And then some of them basically are working the online market aggregator table. And then of course the vendors have their own, their own staffs. So it's quite a few. I think that's right. Yeah, 7.
Great. Anything?
Yeah, one other thing really quick, Emily. One thing maybe that helped us out here at the beach is that Joanne was super proactive about getting the message out about on both Facebook and Nextdoor, actually all of our social media platforms, about why the market was important, and that it was open air, and all the really good things about keeping it going. And that may have helped us a lot with the PR.
I did some of that, not as quickly as I probably should have, but I took screenshots of the executive orders and things of that nature, and did a lot of explaining in comment sections and stuff. But yeah, so far this round seems to be a little bit better, and I think there's just kind of like you're saying, the education, being on top of the education of why. So
yeah,
part of my problem has always been that it's just me. And right now, all I've got is the farmers market to focus on, because I don't have any other events until the fall. So that clears my plate, but it's still a lot for one person.
Yeah, we definitely connect a lot with our shoppers on social media. That's a big communication line for us.
I did want to mention, I'm sure a lot of y'all saw it, but we drafted a press release template for any of y'all to use, because I know Art has been really successful because he's gotten so much positive press. So I'm linking it in here, and it might be helpful, and adapt it however you see fit.
Thanks.
Thanks for sending that. I haven't had a chance to deal with that yet and get that out there, but I think that's pretty important. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you all for participating in this. This was super informative, and we just can't thank you all enough for what you're doing. If there's ever any questions you have for us or anything you think that the FAB team can help with, don't ever hesitate to reach out. We're here for you.
thank you, Mary.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.